If you've ever sat through a real estate agent's presentation, it probably felt like a pretty straightforward walkthrough, right? Just some info. But here's the thing, it's not. It is an absolute masterclass in persuasion. It's this super carefully designed script all about building trust, showing their value, and, well, getting you to a decision. So today, we're going to pull back that curtain and look at the script itself. So the real question is, how do they actually do it? I mean, how do they take all that stress and uncertainty you feel about making, the biggest purchase of your life and turn it into confidence and a signed contract? It's not magic, not at all. It's a strategy. And that strategy? Well, it's a playbook. It's a script that's been designed to get ahead of your fears, the ones you haven't even said out loud yet, and position that agent as the one person you absolutely need by your side. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to deconstruct that playbook slide by slide and really get into the psychology of what's going on. All right, let's dive right in. The very first part of this whole playbook, the opening act, is all about making an immediate connection with you. Before they even think about talking listings or mortgages, they have to win you over. This is where they build that foundation of trust and authority. Okay, listen to this phrase because you'll hear variations of it all the time, so you never feel lost or overwhelmed. That language is so intentional. It's not an accident. It is aimed directly at the biggest fears a homebuyer has, right? That feeling of complexity, the fear of the unknown. It's like sending up a flare that says, hey, I get what you're afraid of, and guess what? I'm the solution. And this feeling of trust, it doesn't just happen. It's built using this really powerful three-part formula. First, they create that personal connection, using words like passion. Then they layer on their proven experience. How many years they've been in the business, any awards they've won, that builds their professional cred. And finally, the finishing touch, social proof, stories and testimonials from other happy clients. It's a killer combination designed to make you feel totally safe and confident with them. Okay, so once that trust is there, you'll notice a shift. The script kind of pivots. The agent goes from being this friendly, empathetic guide to being a super knowledgeable expert. This next phase is all about showing their value with cold, hard data and a bit of education. And one of their go-to tools for this? Data. Usually in a simple-looking chart, just like this one. Now, for most of us, these numbers can be a little confusing, right? But by showing you this and then interpreting it for you, the agent turns that confusion into a clear aha moment. See, they're not just showing you data, they're showing you that they are the key to making sense of it all. And they do the exact same thing with all those complicated financial terms. By breaking down something like an FHA loan, they step into the role of a teacher. And this is such a critical move. Think about it. A salesperson is just trying to sell you something. But an educator? They empower you with knowledge. So who are you going to trust more? It's the educator, every single time. And really, this whole section boils down to one main goal. And they'll often say it out loud. I want you to feel informed and confident. Because think about it. When you feel confident, you feel empowered. And here's the ironic part. That very feeling of empowerment is what makes you rely on the agent who gave it to you in the first place. All right, let's get to the next piece of the playbook. This is where the agent goes head-to-head with what is probably the buyer's single biggest fear, just how overwhelming and complicated the whole process seems. And their strategy? It's genius, really. Make the complex simple. I guarantee you will almost always see a slide that looks something like this. What it does is take this messy, super stressful, and often chaotic process and lays it out as a clean, simple, 5-step journey. This little visual trick turns a huge mountain of anxiety into a totally manageable staircase. All of a sudden, you feel like you have some control, you know what's coming next, and the whole thing just feels way less scary. And this right here, this really lays the whole strategy bare. On one side, you've got the buyer's fear, right? That little voice in your head saying, this is too much, I'm totally overwhelmed. And on the other side, the agent's perfect solution for each of those fears. They're not just selling you a house, they're selling you certainty in what feels like a really uncertain process. And that, right there, is the end game of this whole section. By making the process seem so simple, the agent completely elevates their own role. They're not just a guide showing you the path anymore. No, they're the architect who designed the path just for you. They become the architect of your journey. Okay, now for the final act. Everything we've talked about, the trust, the education, the simplification, it's all been building up to this very moment. This last part of the playbook is all about taking that momentum and turning it into one thing: commitment. Pay close attention to the language here because it shifts again. Suddenly you'll hear a lot of words like will and together. When you find the one, we'll craft an offer that stands out. This is all about creating a sense of being on a team, a partnership. It's not just you against the world anymore. It's you and the agent working together. And that kind of collaborative talk makes taking the next step feel totally natural, like it's just what you do next. So that next step slide, that's the call to action funnel. But notice, it's never one big high-pressure question. Nope, it's a series of small, easy steps. Getting pre-approved? That just makes financial sense. Scheduling a tour? That's the fun part. Each little step is an easy yes, and each yes just leads you further down the path towards signing on with them.
So, at the end of the day, the end of this presentation isn't just a summary. It's a conversion tool. Every single slide we've looked at has been about building your confidence. Confidence in the market, confidence in the process, and, most importantly, confidence in them. These final slides are just there to take all that confidence and channel it into a commitment.
Now look, understanding this playbook isn't about being suspicious of real estate agents. It's about recognizing the incredibly sophisticated strategy that's at play. It's a script that's expertly designed to walk you from a place of anxiety to a place of action. So I guess the real question for you is, now that you know the playbook, does that make you a more confident player in the game?